Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, where the truth always matters. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative, and co-host Brendan, from the Brendan Statler Show. We are your source for conservative news. Now on with the show.
Welcome everyone to the Conservative Viewpoint. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative.
And I'm Brendan Statler from the Brendan Statler Show.
Today, we dive deep into the murky waters of truth and deception. So buckle up, folks, because we're about to dissect the tangled web spun by none other than Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. Now, I won't mince words, but Joe Biden has danced on the edge of veracity like a tightrope walker with a penchant for fibs. His track record, it's a kaleidoscope of ratings. True, mostly true, half true, mostly false, and even the rare pants on fire. Yes, you heard me right. Pants ablaze. Smoke rising from the seams. But let's rewind the tape a little bit back to 2008. During the Democratic primaries, Biden took a jab at Barack Obama, claiming he hadn't passed any bills in the Senate. Well, that was false. And the irony, the same Biden who once accused John McCain now finds himself endorsed by McCain's widow. Politics, my friends, is a fickle beast. Now let's fast forward a bit to 2016. Biden aimed his verbal bazooka at Trump, predicting a Middle East carpet bombing spree. Well, false again. But hey, at least he's consistent. Whether it's sneeze particles on an airplane or geopolitical warfare, Biden got a flair for fiction. Let's not forget the greatest hits, climate change bills from '87. True, and never calling for an Iraq portion. That was true. But then there's the deficit dance, claiming he slashed it by over $1 trillion. Man, that was a whopper. A big, juicy whopper. So grab your fact checker, sip the conservative coffee, and join me as we unravel the tangled yarn of Joe Biden and the Democrat Party's truth or lack thereof. Because here at the Conservative Viewpoint, we don't just report, we dissect, we scrutinize, and serve it straight up. Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint. Let's dive in.
Preview.
Breaking news tonight. This article comes to you from Fake News CNN. Georgia Court of Appeals indefinitely pauses the election subversion conspiracy case against Donald Trump. CNN reports a Georgia appeals court has halted the election subversion conspiracy case against Donald Trump and several of his co-defendants. A massive victory for, they call him the former president, we're going to call him the current president, seeking to push further legal issues until 2025 if he can't beat them altogether. The new order filed on Wednesday from the Georgia Court of Appeals is the latest indication that a trial in the state-level Georgia election subversion case will not occur before the 2024 presidential election. The court said the case will be on hold until a panel of judges rules on whether Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Miss Piggy Willis should be disqualified. So this is, of course, a massive victory for Trump. Every one of these cases are falling apart except for the Moscow show trial we witnessed in New York, but I have a feeling that that's going to fall apart once the Supreme Court hears it. So victories all around for President Trump.
That's right. So what's going on, everybody, today after breaking news? Hope you guys had a good Wednesday. Now, don't forget to grab the keyboard. Join us in chat. Let us know what you're thinking about all the topics we're going to go over tonight. Also, don't forget, check out our Rumble pages. Do this every week, every night. My country conservative, Brendan's is the Brendan Statler Show. And don't forget to follow us. That's the most important right now. The thumbs up too, the rumbles. That helps our reach further people, get our channels to grow even further. Get our truth out to people. So just sit back, guys,
Absolutely.
relax, and enjoy the show. What's that?
I said absolutely. I'm agreeing with you.
So we're going to start off tonight with the GOP and the GOP senators. But you know what? I did have another one, but I can wait for that until tomorrow. The senators are warning against putting Trump behind bars. Excuse me. Republican senators are warning that a New York judge should not sentence Trump to prison or do anything that will impair his ability to campaign for president. Just because, like all these other fake ass trials, it's election interference. That's all it is. Just a way to keep him off from being president again and keep him off the campaign trail. We talked about this some yesterday. There's too many conflicting reports out there about what Trump might be sentenced to. So we're just going to wait and see it out, and see what's going to happen on July 11th. And it's a long time between now and then, and he's got a lot to do with appealing the sentence and all that stuff. So that's something that we're going to have to just wait and see. I'm not going to keep sitting there making suggestions like everybody else is doing. They're just, what if and if that, and nah. We'll just wait.
Yeah.
We have to wait and see.
The reality is we can't possibly predict anything with this case because, quite frankly, they're just making up the rules as they go, and in many cases, just throwing the rules out the window. We've never seen a case like this before, and hopefully we'll never see another one like this where the Constitution is just completely shredded along with the Bill of Rights. Shut that dog up there. God. But so it's hard to say how this is going to go.
It is, but we've got some polls coming out here. No, yeah, not yet, but we have some polls. Right after his conviction, the verdict came back. And of course, you're going to see, because this is from NBC News, and so this is going to be interesting. So now, according to NBC News, the majority agree with the verdict. CBS News did the govern poll that showed 57%, that the verdict was correct. Now, a morning poll, it was a console poll, which 54% of registered voters said that they approved of the verdict, as well as ABC's survey, in which 50% of adults said the verdict was correct. Now, the headline of the Reuters poll released on Saturday, that 1 in 10 Republicans say they are less likely to vote for Trump. Now, remember, these are liberal polls. They don't show you how many people were in the polls and anything, but so you're talking 10 people might have taken it, and 50% of people said they agree with it. So we take these polls with a grain of salt, that's for sure. But 55% of this poll, of this Reuters poll of Republicans, said that the verdict didn't make the difference to their vote, and 34% of them said they are now more likely to vote for Trump. So it depends on who you look at and where it's coming from, because NBC is a pain in the ass, and all the liberal suckers are. So that's just a little bit crazy.
Yeah, and it all depends on where they do these polls as well. Were they doing these polls in Manhattan, New York, the same place that just convicted Trump, where Republicans get virtually no votes? Or are they taking them in another blue area like Philadelphia or Chicago, that you don't really know where these polls come from, because there are a lot of people registered Republican. I wouldn't say a lot, but a fair number, let's say, that are registered Republican that are anti-Trump. Now, of course, they're a small group of the Republican Party. You can see evidence of this based off of Trump's landslide victories through the primaries. But these people nevertheless are out there. Are they just taking Republicans that they know are anti-Trump and are going to give them the answer that they want? And another thing is, how do they phrase the question? You never know how they phrase the question. You could twist polls every which way to have it whatever outcome you want, actually. So it's and like you said, they're liberal polls. Take them with a grain of salt. But what I will say is, one thing it doesn't lie is the amount of money that Donald Trump has been getting. And these aren't like rich billionaires that are just pumping money into Trump's campaign, donating to his campaign since this sham conviction. A lot of them are small dollar donations. I think the average Trump said, or somebody in Trump's team said, was well, I heard like 70, but still, even 40 or 70, whichever
40.
way you want to look. Yeah, whichever way you want to look at it, those are small dollar donations. So those are coming from everyday Americans. Those aren't coming from, people with George Soros money or Bill Gates money. These are everyday Americans that are pumping money into this. So,
Did you
you look at how he's doing in polls. You look at how he's winning in primaries, even when he had opponents. You look at the money. You look at the people that are coming out and supporting him. I mean, that says a lot more than polls, in my opinion, is the money that he's been donating and the people that are volunteering to work for his campaign now with this, with the new RNC, thank God, with Laura Trump. There are a lot of people wanting to get in and help Trump any way they can. I mean, that says a hell of a lot more in a poll.
Now, did you see that the Democrats come up with this miracle anonymous donor to Biden? Said they just donated, somebody gave him $64 million to beat Trump. But of course, it was anonymous.
George Soros.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Somebody's going to, if you're going to give him $64 million, that's because of what's her face that gave or is giving Trump $100 million.
Or maybe it came from Xi Jinping himself. Who knows?
Yeah, you're right there.
That's a possibility. Or it could have come from Volodymyr Zelensky, the new dictator of Ukraine.
Yeah. Oh my. Okay, now according to Newsmax, the Eric Trump says that the left wants to harm his dad really bad. So I'm going to let you watch this video real quick of Eric telling you about what he thinks the Democrats are wanting to do about his dad. So take a look at this. It's a real short one.
Now, also, Democrats in Congress are saying, oh, but you know what? If a president is ever convicted of a felony, we should strip him of his Secret Service detail. I mean, really, there's no bounds to what they want to do to your father.
Carl, I mean it sincerely. These people would love to see real harm done to him. And I'm not just talking about, they try and do that every day in terms of going after his wallet, trying to bankrupt him, trying to go after his family, subpoenaing all of us, trying to go after him criminally for absolute nothing. They weaponize every system, but I mean it. They would love to see real physical harm done to him. And it pains me to say that, right? This isn't America, but
we all know what the Democrats are capable of. Look at what happened to JFK. Now that we know that the CIA was behind the assassination, what makes you think nowadays that they wouldn't do the same thing? And with Merrick Garland, he could sit up there and lie his ass off like he always does and said, well, that's not true. We didn't do that when we raided his house. Get the hell out of here. Liberal media stations look at him and lies about Trump and everything that they say. And you know what? Every one of those liberal media stations just kissed my ass because I'm sick of hearing their lies and bullshit and covering up for Joe Biden and the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and you mentioned this already, but they do want to kill Trump because they can't beat him any other way. Everything they've thrown at him, they cannot take him out. The only way they stop Trump at this point is to kill him. I hope that doesn't happen, of course, but that's the only way they're going to be able to stop him. Like we talked about the Mar-a-Lago raid, they authorized use of deadly force. And this is the whole reason, and everybody's making a big deal about this now, that Donald Trump said in a interview he had with Fox News earlier this week with Fox and Friends that he was going to declassify the 9/11 files, the JFK files, the Epstein files. That there was all this stuff he was going to declassify. The reason they have kept the JFK files sealed this long is because we all know they had President Kennedy assassinated. We know this. There's no other reason for keeping those sealed. Everybody that would have been involved in it is either completely old and senile or they're dead. The reason they don't want them unsealed is because that is exactly what they were planning for President Trump. They are trying to kill him. Thankfully, it seems like Secret Service absolutely loved President Trump. There were many of them, you'll remember, when he left office, when they threatened to take away his Secret Service because of January 6th. There were many Secret Service agents that said they would retire and be his personal bodyguards. They would be his security. So I think they're going to do a great job of protecting him. Hopefully they do, because I really believe that they have plans drawn up to assassinate him, and hopefully they are not successful.
No kidding. But now you're going to see, as we go through all these articles I got tonight, that every one of these articles have to do with, hence the name of the show, with the Democrats don't get their way. They lie, cheat, and steal. That's exactly why the name of the show today, because next we got Trump's attorney. Their attorneys are trying to get the gag order removed so he could talk at the presidential debate following, this end of this trial. Well, the jurors are allowed to talk to anybody they want. So why the hell?
Everybody's allowed to talk, but Trump,
except for everybody, him. Right?
Everybody.
So that's bullshit that he has to remain under a gag order when it's done, because they've already sentenced him. So what the hell are they going to do? But now we know the corrupt judge, and all of them are trying to interfere in the election. So, you never know what this idiot's going to say. He might just say, no, hell with you. You're going to stay gagged. And that's kind of overstepping his judicial watch. But, I mean, what the hell's the difference? He's done it since day one of this trial anyways. He's overstepped and has not followed the law.
Absolutely.
At all. So let me know what you guys think in chat. Do you think that corrupt judge is going to let him remove the gag order or not? Do you think they're going to put it on?
No. I can't believe that it's not automatically lifted once the trial's over, because you would think that the appeal process wouldn't matter, because Marshawn's not going to be the judge in the appeals process. So why is Trump still under gag order? I mean, I'm the furthest thing from a lawyer. If somebody could explain this to me, I would appreciate it. But is that normal for a defendant, even after they're convicted, to still have a gag order if they're going to go through the appeals process? I mean, that just seems odd to me. Isn't that? Don't you find that odd, Charlie?
I do, and
you would think it'd be lifted as soon as the case is over.
I know Dennis is usually here. He's our Wimpkin attorney. You can usually find it out, but Dennis has not come on yet. So I'm hoping that.
I mean, that just makes sense to me. I mean, we all know they're doing this for political reasons, but I mean, is there another example that anybody could think of to where the defendant is convicted and he's still under gag order, can't talk about, there's certain things he can't talk about with the case? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
So now we've got more investigations. Here's the Republican Party right now. More investigations. And that they don't finish something. They just continue with another investigation. Now we got one that seems to be getting done about the situation with the GOP is requesting. They're not telling them, they're requesting the White House aid Griffin's communication with January 6th star witness Kathy Hutchinson. Now, if you guys don't remember Kathy, she's the one that lied about Trump lunging at the Secret Service agent, telling him to get my ass up to the Capitol. And he said, I'm the fucking president, and you got to take listen. And we know she lied about it. Now, the House has been investigating this for years now. They've interviewed her and everybody else, and now they still continue to ask for more communications over, you'd think, with all of these years that went by, they'd have everything that they need to hold people accountable. But no, they still are not doing their job, not holding anybody accountable. And
No, not at all.
pissing me off. Now, it's the Secret Service agent that was there is wanting to quickly refute Kathy Hutchinson's story. Now, he is willing to testify. I don't know if you saw this or not today, but
I believe that this is the same guy, real quick, that wanted, and I think there was one other guy. It was the two Secret Service agents that were supposedly with Trump in the car when this supposedly happened. The guy that Trump supposedly was choking wanted to testify when the sham January 6th kangaroo court committee was still in place. He wanted to testify. He said that story was complete bullshit, and he wanted to come tell his side of the story. Liz Cheney blocked him from coming because it didn't fit their narrative. Remember, no opposing voice was allowed in the kangaroo court committee for January 6th. You know, if you're doing an actual investigation like these people claimed they were doing, remember, this took over every major news outlet, along with even local news. I mean, if you were watching something like General Hospital on ABC or whatever you watch on daytime television, they interrupted your program to bring you that stupid bullshit show trial. But if you're doing an actual investigation, wouldn't you want opposing sides to come in and let the American people decide? They didn't want opposing sides because it was all bullshit. It was all about driving a narrative. And this is what the Republicans should have done when they took power. They should have had a legitimate January 6th committee, January 6th committee, and got to the bottom of what really happened. But I'm not surprised. Like you said, they do nothing. They don't even finish anything. They go from one thing to another. Like all this stuff with Fauci and Merrick Garland, I agree it's important. But at the same time, that should not be the most important thing right now. They should have brought Juan Marchand and his daughter and fat-ass Alvin Twinkies Bragg out before Congress immediately as soon as the sham conviction was handed down to President Trump. And they should have grilled every one of these people. And if they refuse to show up, you hold them in contempt of Congress and you treat them just like the Democrats did to Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon and everybody else that defied his subpoena. You should hit these people with everything you got, but the Republicans never do.
Okay, we got Representative Barry Loudermilk says that he's deeply concerned by the delay from the Democrat-led January 6th panel because it misled the Americans. But he wants to say that is the Democrats lied to the American people, but he's trying to be politically correct. To hell with that. We're not politically correct in this show, but now I'm going to let you watch this video of the lie that Kathy Hutchinson said about what happened in Trump's limo. And then we got the FBI refuting the lies that she said about the limo. So I want you to take a look at this.
The president had very strong, very angry response to that. Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now."
The lead Secret Service agent who was inside the vehicle denies that this incident ever occurred. Now, we're told that the Department of Homeland Security reached out to the January 6th Select Committee and said that these witnesses are willing to come testify to refute some of this testimony. So clearly, the Secret Service pushing back on this, saying that according to Ornato and these other officials, this didn't happen.
Every time something comes up about January 6th and the Democrats, they lie. Now it's found out that it's to be lies. And what do the Republicans do about these lies? Nothing. Now,
I can't believe CNN actually aired that.
I know.
I can't believe
I was
CNN
surprised.
actually aired
That's when I found that. So now, aren't you guys tired of no action Republican Party? Now I know I am, because where do we go? Democrat Party or the party, they're the party of violence, pedophilia, lies, deceit, lawlessness. And the Republican Party is a weak-ass, do-nothing party. So what's left? Where do we go from here? And I know Gary, from the American Rebellion, he said this today on his show, you know, about sick of the Democrats and the Republican Party, but where do we go? These are what choices we have. You got independents, you got Green Party, and it seems like they don't get anywhere being the small parties that they are. So what do we do? What is our choices? But we have to build something strong, and I don't know when and how we're going to get that started if we don't win this election.
The only thing we can do is, I mean, we have no choice but to stick with the Republican Party right now. And I've mentioned this before. You know, I think once Trump gets in, and man, that dog is going nuts up there. Jeez. Right. But anyway, once Trump gets back in, I mean, we just got to completely purge the weak one. We got to politically purge them. You know, the weak ones, force them into retirement or primary them. I mean, we have to make the Republican Party the strong MAGA party that the majority of the voters would support. And eventually what's going to happen from there? The Republican Party is going to win so much. And what that's going to do is eventually the Democrat Party is going to come more to the center. They may be slightly more liberal than we would like, of course, but the Democrat Party would at least be an option because we do need the Democrat Party. People may not want to hear that, but we do have to have two strong parties if we want to preserve this republic. Because this is how we got into this situation. Many people in the working class, Charlie, you were a Democrat for years.
Yep.
Many, and my whole family was Democrat when I was growing up. They voted Democrat because a lot of them were union workers and whatever else, and the union is always back to Democrats, so on and so forth. They voted Democrat because that's who their parents voted for and grandparents. People weren't paying attention to who they were voting for. They were just voting along party lines. That's how the Democrat Party got so far left. We can't do that with the Republican Party, too. So we really do need two parties. We need an option to vote either Republican or Democrat. Right now, if you want to save America, that is, your only option is Republican because these third parties, I mean, they really are a throwaway vote. They really are. You have to be either Republican or Democrat to get anywhere. But hopefully we can get to where we have a strong Republican Party along with a strong Democrat Party that are, that do want to uphold the Constitution and work for the people. We really do need both parties, if I'm being completely honest, and hopefully we'll get there in the near future.
Oh, well, we need to get rid of all parties and
we do. A lot of, I would say 98% of the people in there. I mean, honestly, I'm all for just kicking everybody out. If I could have my way, just snap my finger, I'd make all of them just go away, force them into retirement, and I'd replace them with retired military, law enforcement, retired law enforcement, just everyday workers, farmers, so on and so forth. That's who I would put in there if I had my way. But, a lot of these people got to go. You're right on both sides of the aisle. I would say at least 98% of them need to go.
No doubt there. No doubt. Now, in an interview with Newsmax, Jason Miller said that Attorney General Garland, that piece of shit that he is lying to the American people. Now, Jason Miller was a senior advisor to Donald Trump, but on Tuesday he told Newsmax he accused Attorney General Idiot Garland, who is testifying before the House Judiciary Committee, a flat and simple lying to the American people, with denials of the Department of Justice being weaponized by the administration. We all know Garland lies. If you've ever watched any of the hearings to the House Judiciary Committee or whatever committee he was in, they constantly lie. Him, the Democrat Party, Joe Biden, and he leads by example because every time he talks, he's a lying. Every interview you see, he lies. We see it. You watch the interviews, anything on TV, we know he lies. So why wouldn't all the Democrats lie? So what would be any different than the whole administration lying? Now, here's a video of Merrick Garland and the lies. You've got to take a look at this.
You had no problem dispatching Matthew Colangelo. Who's Matthew Colangelo?
That is false. I did not dispatch Matthew Colangelo.
Matthew
That's
Colangelo,
false.
Matthew
False.
Colangelo became the Assistant Attorney General at the very beginning of the Biden administration. Without having been Senate confirmed, goes and gets this senior role at the DOJ, and then after, I believe it's Gupta replaces Colangelo, Colangelo makes this remarkable downstream career journey from the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and then pops up in Alvin Bragg's office to go get Trump. And you're saying that's just a career choice that was made that has nothing to do with the lawfare coordinated by the DOJ.
I'm saying it's false. I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he applied for a job there and got the job. And why we have gone beyond precedent to provide the committee with the transcripts of the special counsel's interview with the president. But we have made clear that we will not provide audio recordings from which the transcripts that you already have were created. Releasing the audio would chill cooperation with the department in future investigations, and it could influence witnesses' answers if they thought the audio of their law enforcement interviews would be broadcast to Congress and the public. Now, in response, certain members of this committee and the Oversight Committee are seeking contempt as a means of obtaining, for no legitimate purpose, sensitive law enforcement information that could harm the integrity of future investigations.
Now, this is only a couple of his lies, and I could probably make a whole damn show about his lies. Him and my
shit,
workers.
we could take a whole week off, probably.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that.
Have him and Biden just a compilation of lies. We could take a vacation.
Oh, most definitely. I don't know who lies more, KJP, Joe Biden, or the rest of the Democrat Party.
Or the media.
Equal. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess they're all on the same side, so it's they're all equal in their ability to lie, I guess.
Right. Now, who do you guys think in chat? Who do you guys think is the biggest liar out of the Democrats, Joe Biden, KJP? KJP's, I think, the worst liar.
Can we throw Al Sharpton in there? Can we throw Al Sharpton in there just because?
Oh, that dickhead! Hell no! That son of a bitch should be in prison for tax evasion, but hell no, he's still running around. Now we got Merrick Garland. Now, again, he was going to push back on Trump for the lock and loaded FBI claim. Of course, they deny any control in the New York case. Now, of course, he's going to deny it because who's going to stand up there in front of a camera and say, "Oh hell yeah, we're out to get Trump"? We're going. But
you know what? Even if they did, Charlie, the media would probably spin it somehow.
He didn't say that. What they would do.
Pro-Palestinian freaks that don't even know what gender they are would all parrot it. It's very, very dumb audience these people have. We'll say
most definitely. But I'm gonna let you watch this video and the true meaning of the use of force when it comes to law enforcement, and not what the fake lame news ass media and the Democrat Party is telling you. And I just put this up today, a little bit of video, so you got to take a look at this and see the truth on the use of force. Take a look at this.
I got most of us got a solicitation email this morning from the former President of the United States saying that the Justice Department had authorization to kill him during the Mar-a-Lago raid. First, can you give us some clarification on that particular point that he's making and whether or not deadly force is authorized in other interventions, including the search of Mr. Biden's residence and office? And the second question is,
Can I do one at a time? Okay. On that one, that allegation is false, and it is extremely dangerous. The document that is being referred to in the allegation is the Justice Department's standard policy limiting the use of force. As the FBI advises, it is part of the standard operations plan for searches, and in fact, It was even used in the consensual search of President Biden's home.
There's no such thing as limited use of force. Now, I told you guys when I was still at the prison, we were trained the same way law enforcement are with the use of force. Everything else, because, you know, inmates fight, inmates try to escape, they try to fight us, you know, so you are trained in when you can and cannot use force and when it is justified. You know, these idiots can say what they want, but I know for a fact because I lived it and what the truth is when it comes to the use of force. Who the hell were they afraid of at Mar-a-Lago that was going to affect or harm them? Nobody. You had the Secret Service. The Secret Service is not there to harm anyone. They are there to protect Donald Trump. There is nobody at Mar-a-Lago that was going to be fear for their life. It's no different than that piece of shit cop that killed Ashley Babbitt on January 6th. He's a coward cop, and the use of force was not justified in this case because his life was not in danger. With her climbing into a window does not consider his
where
life
where you
in
could see
danger.
both where you could see both her hands and she was clearly unarmed.
And there was cops behind her.
That
They
too.
were right behind her, and he shoots through a window. He was a cowardly ass piece of shit, and he got a promotion for killing an unarmed woman. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh my God!
This is what DEI looks like, because this is the same cop that should have been fired even before January 6th for leaving his service pistol, his firearm, in the men's bathroom in the Capitol.
I forgot
but
about that.
Why wasn't he fired? Let's just say it. Because he's black. That is the only reason he kept his job. That's the only reason he was not prosecuted, because he was a black man who shot a white woman who happened to be a Trump supporter, and he was hailed as a hero. This is somebody else that should be prosecuted immediately once Donald Trump gets back in. This guy should be in prison, have absolutely no chance of getting out. Absolutely no chance. They should make his life a living hell for taking Ashley Babbitt's life. There was absolutely no justification for this, but this is what they wanted to happen at Mar-a-Lago. I'm telling you, this was an assassination attempt. They were going to drum up that there was some type of struggle with getting these documents, and they would fabricate some bullshit story of why they had to open fire. This was an assassination attempt, because that's not standard procedure. Everybody knows that. And what would be the rationale for doing that, other than you're looking for some type of conflict? You're looking to take somebody out.
But when they're there, who's to prove to them if they shoot Trump, who's going to say what he did? They're going to say, "Oh, he tried to stab us" or something like that. So, that's their justification.
That's what I said. That's what I said before, and even though I was kind of being funny when I said it, but I mean, this is a real possibility. Say they decide to come into Mar-a-Lago. Let's just say that Trump was on the can taking a shit. They break down the door. He's reaching for friggin' toilet paper. They say they thought he was reaching for a gun. Boom, they shoot him dead. That's a real possibility. If something like that happened, I mean, that's what they were looking for. They were looking for any opportunity to take him out. Any opportunity. But Secret Service got notified and got him out of there and completely avoided that possibility, thank God. But that was their goal. They were hoping that they would get the opportunity to shoot him dead.
Yep. And Tony, you did answer Tony on this one. And Tony said that we need to have people get out and vote Republican. And that's why we're doing these videos.
Absolutely.
That's why we're doing these streams, because we try to get the truth out to people, to wake people up, to see how corrupt the Democrat Party is. We can't afford it. And I know for a fact, I guarantee that Joe Biden, it will not be the nominee. And I don't give a shit who the nominee is for Democrat. They can't get in no matter what we do. That's why we're doing this, to try to wake people up. And of course, we can't get liberals to come on here. Since we started this, we have begged when I was able to put the link in to chat for somebody to come on and chat with us, no liberal would do it.
And we've invited quite a few of them too that we've argued with on social media. Me and Charlie like picking fights on social media. I think I like it a little more than he does. I've definitely invited quite a few people, but they did not have this.
I get suspended too much because I had to block somebody the other day because the idiot just kept running his mouth, and I was getting a little hot-headed, so I had to block him because I don't want to get suspended. Then we can't stream on Facebook.
Yeah,
so
I invited quite a few people, but of course, like most liberals, they didn't have the stones to come on and do it. So no surprise there. But one thing I want to address here, we were just talking about this in response to Tony's comment. I know of a lot of people that have like a defeated feeling about this, and I don't know why about everything that's going on. I mean, this is what victory looks like. I mean, did anybody think that this was really going to be easy? That all of a sudden that the switch was just going to flip and everything was going to be hunky dory right away? I mean, I've said this. You could go back and look at old shows I did when I first started doing this about 2 years ago. I told everybody that's been listening to me from the start, things are going to get better. We're going to have to go through hell to get there, but they're going to get better. All the stuff we're seeing from the Moscow show trials, the political persecutions of Trump, to everything else that's been going on lately. This is what victory looks like. This is what desperation looks like. The main thing that is happening right now, the Democrats and the deep state are exposing themselves, and that's what we want more than anything. Like, I'm telling you, when Hunter Biden gets acquitted in this gun trial, and he's going to,
it's not going to be a surprise.
It's not going to be a surprise, but I'm telling you, that is also going to work in our benefit, because people are going to get pissed off about it, sure, and you have every right to be pissed off about it. But that is going to motivate people even more. This is where our victory starts. So I really hope that people that I have seen that are just seem completely defeated, I really hope they start to pick their heads up, because, man, we're in good shape. We haven't won yet. We can't pop the champagne yet. But, man, we are in great freaking shape right now. We got to keep up the pressure. The only way we lose is if we quit. That is the only way we lose. We cannot quit.
Now, if they let Hunter Biden off, they're setting a dangerous precedent, because it's telling all these criminals, go ahead and out there and buy a gun, fill out the application, lie on it, because it doesn't mean shit. Because look, Hunter Biden got away with it, being on drugs, carrying an illegal weapon when he was on drugs. So that is setting a dangerous precedent, and
absolutely. But you know what? But one thing this is also going to do, like I said before, this is going to expose them even more, because the people we're really trying to win over at this point are the independents, the people that are still kind of in the middle. They see that Trump gets convicted on these bullshit charges. Then they see that Hunter Biden, that obviously committed a blatant crime on this gun form, gets acquitted. Man, many of them are going to come to our side. The ones that haven't yet, they're going to come to our side, because they're going to see the two-tier system of justice. Their eyes are going to be wide open. I'd be lying if I didn't say that part of me was not hoping a little bit that Hunter Biden gets acquitted in this, just for that alone, just to let them further expose themselves. Because what they're trying to do with this now, if Hunter Biden gets convicted, this can actually work against us. I mean, I don't know if it'll work against us. I don't know if I want to say that. But it will not benefit us as much as if he gets acquitted. And the reason is because they will expose how weaponized the Department of Justice is against its political opponents. Because they're doing this now just to say, look, we're not targeting our political opponents. The president, the illegitimate president, I'll add, his son is in court right now on charges. He's being convicted. If he's convicted, that would be the narrative. But if he's acquitted, there's no narrative. They just expose themselves if he's acquitted.
I'm looking at some of the comments in here.
And Tammy said, and the cop that killed Roseanne Boylan. And there was one other person. There was one other person too that we know of. There was probably more. But what was the guy's name that was carried out on the stretcher? I believe it was a guy. It could have been a woman. I don't think that was Roseanne Boylan.
The only
there
other
was
one
somebody,
I remember.
There was somebody else. There was a third
one
person.
I remember is the one at OD'd. They had an OD right outside the Capitol, but I don't remember anyone else. I mean, there was a lot of people hurt. So
there were definitely three. I remember Ashley Babbitt, Roseanne Boylan, and I cannot for life of me remember the other one. Hell, they may have never released their name, but there was definitely at least three.
Well, now we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to head down south of the border here, and Chinese illegal immigrants surge at the southern border. Now, it proves our worst fears. A group of Republican lawmakers are warning the Biden administration about the rise in Chinese nationals coming across the southern border, claiming it proves that the fears and the worst fears about what they see as a weakening of the enforcement under the Biden administration. We're taking and talking about 30,000 illegal Chinamen, military-aged men, coming across the southern border with everything that China has been doing to this country of ours. And why the Republicans say it's their worst fear? And I can see why, because China's buying up farmlands, hundreds of thousands of acres. So where have all these illegal Chinamen at that have crossed the border? What are they doing in those farmlands that they bought? Does anyone know? Now, I've got a video on my Orcas on the Chinese that are coming across the border, and on the executive order Biden just decided to do, took them 3.5 years after they stole the White House. But
and 5 months before an election, mind you.
Oh, exactly. So take a look at this.
Tonight, among the unprecedented number of migrants illegally crossing into the U.S. from Mexico, a dramatic surge in people from China. We're on the border east of San Diego.
This is a group that crossed a few minutes ago. Border Patrol just directed them to the open-air detention site.
They tell us they're fleeing poverty and political repression, including the aftermath of COVID.
Why did you leave China?
Freedom.
Was there something specific that happened?
Yes. COVID-19. My work is gone.
What did you used to do?
Engineer. Electronic engineer.
3 years ago, 689 Chinese migrants crossed the southern border. Last year, that number soared to over 37,000, part of an explosion of migrants coming here from all over the globe. Currently, most migrants are released into the U.S. to wait often years for asylum hearings. Critics say that encourages migrants to come, and President Biden should change course through executive action.
The system has been broken for decades.
Why not take executive action right now? Why not do more right now to address this?
What executive action are you suggesting that we take that we haven't taken that would survive court scrutiny?
Now you listen to his bullshit.
Put Trump's policies back in place would be a good start.
They took it on day one, and they took away Trump's border policies that were working, because he only had up to 17,000 a month, which Brendan brought up this yesterday, I believe, about this executive order that he has signed does nothing to stop what's going on right now. And
no, it does absolutely nothing.
No, it feeds the bullshit lies to the sheep that are still backing Joe Biden so they don't lose them too and lose their votes. So everything that they said, and you heard the lies right there. Now, that one Chinaman that they interviewed said he was an electrical engineer. He must not have been a very good one. Engineers here make pretty good damn money. So why is he walking to the United States?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, some Chinese people coming over could legitimately be coming over because they're fleeing the Chinese Communist Party. That is a very real possibility. They see what's happening with our non-existent southern border, and they're coming over. But the thing is, like anybody coming over the southern border right now, we don't know the good from the bad, because I I don't believe that every single person coming over, now they broke our laws, I'm not disputing that, but I don't believe everybody coming over, every single person coming over is coming in with malicious intentions. But that being said, there are a lot that are, and we don't know the good from the bad. And the ones that come over that look like they're, the Chinamen coming over, that look like they're in very good shape, like they're, military, they're possible military. I mean, that definitely makes you a little uneasy. And then we're getting MS-13 gang members. We're getting people that are on the terrorist watch list. I mean, that's the whole thing with the border. Our position is not anti-immigrant. It's not xenophobic like
Come
the
here
lefties
legally.
like to say. Come here legally. Let us properly vet you so we can make sure that you don't mean us any harm. I mean, that's what every nation should do. I mean, why would you just that would be like taking the doors off your house. You know what I mean? That just it makes zero sense. A nation without borders is not a nation. We need to properly vet the people that want to come in. If people, and this is my biggest thing that I just absolutely go nuts when I hear the media say this, that there are people seeking asylum. They crossed how many damn countries to come here? That is not seeking asylum. If you want to seek asylum, if you want to seek asylum to the United States, you don't just come here. I mean, you go to the nearest U.S. embassy and you can claim asylum there. You don't travel over all these countries and just walk over our border. That's not how this is supposed to work.
Yeah, Tammy, you're making a lot of good points there. They will declare martial law in this country, and that's what the Democrats want to do. They want to be able to declare martial law and shut us all down. They can do guns confiscations. They can do all kind of shit if they declare martial law. And I think if they find China is up to something like this, they will do that. And Demo KKK crash. You got that right, Stanley. And yes, we do need to shut down the border, build the wall like Trump had everything going. And if it wasn't for Biden, that's exactly what would have been happening.
Yeah.
And
you think about it, this shutting down the border is not just for our safety. I mean, that's the primary objective. But it also protects the illegals in a way too, because many of these kids and these women are being raped to make this journey. If the border is closed and they know they're not getting in, none of that's taking place. None of that is going to happen. So it's not only protecting us, it's protecting them too. The ones that are truly innocent, that are just coming over to have a better life. They're still breaking our laws nonetheless, like I said, and everybody should be deported back as soon as Trump gets back in, regardless of what their intentions are, just because they did not come through the legal process.
Right, but Billy Bob, you're right that they don't make commies any money, and the drug cartel and all them are the commies along with our people. And yes, Tammy, right, we got to stop the free handouts no matter what. But now I got a couple more things here I want to get to before we got to sign off. But now we got Joe Biden's money launderer, Zelensky, saying that China is pressuring other countries not to attend the upcoming Ukraine peace talks. Well, time is up to a lot of stuff that aren't like Russia and China. They're colluding like crazy on something that we don't even know about. And what's Joe Biden doing about them? Nothing. He goes on vacation. There's no consequences for any of this stuff. And another important reason why we got to get Trump back in office. So we're not going to get anywhere if we don't do something in November, because it's just another example of the lies, deceit of the Democrat Party and Joe Biden. But we're going to go, and this North Korea stuff is the worst part, because they are becoming ballsy, I guess you'd say, because of Joe Biden's weakness. Now they are shooting a barrage of missiles off toward South Korea into their eastern waters. Now, earlier last week, Korea fired all these missiles that, of course, went over their heads. So I want to watch this little video of them shooting these shooting these missiles off at South Korea. Take a look at this.
Well, in other news now, North Korea has fired a barrage of missiles towards its eastern coast. According to Seoul, Pyongyang fired 10 short-range ballistic missiles towards the Sea of Japan. This comes days after a satellite rocket launch by Pyongyang ended in failure. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said that the missiles apparently landed outside Japan's exclusive economic zone. The suspected missiles were fired from the Sunan area near its capital, Pyongyang, at 6:14 local time on Thursday. There were no immediate reports of damage. Meanwhile, Japan's Coast Guard has issued a maritime safety advisory over the North Korean launch and has urged ships to exercise caution if they find any fallen objects. The latest launch of missiles comes a day.
Now, I stopped it there because of this next one. That this was from, I believe CNN did this one. And I don't know if you guys saw this about North Korea sending balloons over to South Korea. If you guys watched this or not, but the CNN anchor was stunned after discovering the dirty surprise that North Korea had for South Korea. It's not funny because Kim Jong-un is a nutcase and he's got to be stopped. They're doing all this aggression because of Joe Biden and his weakness, and Joe Biden does nothing. But I do want you to watch this last video I've got for you because this is disgusting. Watch this.
뭐가 떨어지는 소리가 굉장히 크게 들렸고요. 그리고 나서 뭐가 이제 팔락팔락거리 막 이렇게 날아다니기 시작했고, 그다음에 바로 폴리스 라인을 치시고 와서 이제 수사대가 오셔가지고 수사를 하시게 된 것 같아요. 의도적인 장소를 지정을 해서 내려 떨어진 것 같기는 하다는 생각이 들면서 너무 소름 끼치고 무섭더라고요. 그게 만약에 진짜 오물이 아닌 무슨 바이러스라든지 어떤 화학물이라든지 그런 게 떨어졌으면 저희는 어떻게 됐을까 하는 순간 너무 소름이 끼쳐서 다들 굉장히 공포에 떨었던 것 같아요.
Now you see how nasty this is? This stuff, even as nasty as it is, human feces, that is disgusting. But they are provoking a war because of Joe Biden's weakness, because they see what he's doing and that he doesn't nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing how different everything is now compared to just a short time ago when President Trump was in the White House. I mean, this stuff, they wouldn't even think about doing this stuff if Donald Trump was in the White House right now. Yep. This thought would never even cross their mind because they know they'll be hell to pay. People could make whatever argument they want about Trump. They don't like his rhetoric. They don't like the tweets, whatever. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit what his rhetoric's like? Who cares? The economy was booming. Nobody screwed with the United States while he was in. Nobody was doing stupid bullshit like this around the world because they knew there'd be hell to pay. They would have to deal with Trump. Our country was feared. And, when you are a country as powerful as the United States, the most powerful nation in the world, you have to have other nations, particularly nations like North Korea and China and so on. You have to have them fear you. That's what people may not like it, but I mean, that's how it is. You have to have that little, I don't want to say unhinged because it makes them sound crazy, but you need to have that, that unpredictability like Trump had. Trump always says, when he was talking with Putin, he believed me maybe 10%. Well, 10%'s enough. It's still that. Yeah. Would he really do this? Would he really do what he said he would do if I went and invaded Ukraine, or if we did this, or if we did that? You have to have that. And they're not sitting around. People like Kim Jong-un and Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin aren't sitting around thinking, if I do this, what's Joe Biden's reaction going to be doing that? But I guarantee you, every one of them, if they thought about doing something, that was the first thing crossed their mind. What will Donald Trump do to me if I go through with this? And you have to have that as an American president. You have to have that.
Yep. And we don't have it anymore. And Tammy, you're right.
Have it right now. No,
you're right, Tammy. They are laughing at us. So we are a laughing stock on the world stage.
Wouldn't you if you were outside the United States too? I mean,
I would.
I mean, seriously, if I looked at any other country and I saw that this was the guy that was supposedly the president, or whatever title the others have, others call them prime ministers, whatever. The guy that's speaking on behalf of your nation. I mean, I would make fun of us too if I wasn't an American. I mean, for real. I mean, this guy's a friggin' disaster.
Right, William, you're exactly right. Strength isn't peaceful. Strength is having the ability to devour your enemy and choosing reason not to, so long as they behave. That's what exactly we had under Trump, though. We had peace without war. And
that's exactly what that was the thing that was so unique about Trump, and we're going to get that back. We're going to.
Oh yeah, definitely. We will get it back.
As an American president, you can't be looking for war. You can't be looking for war, but you also can't be afraid to go to war. You have to excuse the term. You have to have that fuck around and find out mentality. You have to have that. You want to do this? Okay, we're going to unleash hell on you if you do this. And we don't want any conflict with anybody, but if you do, we don't want any conflict with you. But if you do this, we will not hesitate to take action. That is the message you have to carry as an American president. And Joe Biden does not have that. That's what Donald Trump was, and that's what Donald Trump will be in his second term.
Right, Rodney. Shut down the border. It's too late because Fox is already in a chicken coop. You're right. And that's what we got to start weeding out. And we got to weed out all the foxes out of this country. And no matter what we can do. I mean, that is a given right off the bat.
And Trump will get these people out. People always ask how he's going to do this. One thing that people need to understand, the Biden regime has put a lot of restraints on local law enforcement, not just ICE, on local law enforcement. Many of these local law enforcement officials know exactly where these people are. Trump is going to take the shackles off these people, and he's going to work with local law enforcement and ICE and Border Patrol. And they're going to get these people out. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, of course, because there's so many freaking people here. But it's going to happen. And I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than people think. I mean, he will get it done. He will.
You're right, Tammy. And we have Joe Biden saying don't. And what do? They do. They don't listen to his dumb ass. But okay, guys, it's all the time we have for tonight. So, again, I'm going to ask you to go to our Rumble pages. Mine is the Country Conservative. Brendan's is the Brendan Statler Show. Follow us, please. That is the important one to check off your box. Get that checked. Follow us. We need more people to follow us. Share our videos with your friends and family, even the liberal ones, if you still talk to any of them.
The liberal ones.
Yeah, we got to piss them off. That's why we want to do it.
It's so fun to watch their minds overheat because they're trying to think. Oh yeah, it's hilarious. It's
you got to do that because it's great.
Love seeing them melt down.
Love to piss them off. Oh yeah, the meltdown is great. So now I'm going to leave it with this. As the sun sets on today's episode, I'll leave you with this. The truth is our compass and integrity our North Star. Join us again tomorrow night. We'll continue to expose the tangled web of deception spun by those who claim to lead. So until then, stay vigilant, stay informed, and remember that liberty thrives when lies are laid to bear. So till tomorrow night, guys, everyone have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.